Welcome, guys. Welcome to another live talk. We're going to go over how to start your side hustle while working full time. And just to be honest, it's going to start with you getting up and actually doing something. And I'm speaking from experience here. I'm not pointing anybody out. I'm not trying to tell someone that they're lazy, unless you are. but I was. I really was. I just didn't get up and around to. I wasn't motivated. I wasn't motivated to get a side hustle going. And so this is trying to push people to get a side hustle going while working full time. And it's easy. It's so easy. Especially if all you work is 40 hours a week. And I get it. I've been there, done that, working more than 40 hours a week by far, working 6-7 days a week. And you don't think that you have time, but I promise you, even working more than 40 hours a week, you can make it work. In fact, I'm going to show you that not only working and having a side hustle is possible, you can make money with your side hustle. And that starts with, like I said, getting up off the couch. Instead of watching the football game, instead of going out with friends, all that fun stuff. It's great. I love it. But if you're really serious about creating a side hustle, you're going to have to sacrifice something, some time to be able to get this done. And the thing of it is let's say that you're working 40 hours a week and you want to start a side hustle. Let's say you're one of the lucky people that but sleeps 8 hours a day, which props to you for working or sleeping 8 hours a day, because I don't know if that's possible these days. But so 40 hours a day, 40 hours a week for a work week, 8 hours a day. If you're sleeping 8 hours a day, that's 56 hours. That is 96 hours towards sleeping and working. And the big question now is, what are you doing with the other 72 hours out of the week? And are you getting anything done? With that 72 hours, let's say you devote 3 hours a day for your side hustle a day. So that's 21 hours. You still have 50 hours left out of the week to do whatever else you want. I'm not saying that your side hustle should take up every bit of your time, but maybe you take a little bit of that 72 hours and you create that side hustle, or at the very least create a hobby. So if you have a hobby, comment below. I'd like to know what your hobby is. If I lived around water, believe you me, I would be fishing and trying to make money. And so I follow these guys on YouTube that they crush it with fishing channels. And I'm like, I think I could do that. And so a buddy of mine, we had kayaks, we have fishing gear, and I'm thinking, man, we could actually, fishing. We could make some money off of this. And then we realized that we don't really live around water. Not anything good. And so when we realized that, okay, this isn't feasible for us to do a fishing channel, because we're going to spend all of our money just traveling to get to these places to even grow our channel, it's just not going to work. So what do? It's a hobby. We do it for fun, along with Frisbee golf. That's our newest one. And so I started out with woodworking, and I see some comments where, woodworking is their hobby or their side hustle. And I started out with woodworking, and I started out with a $20 Facebook Marketplace miter saw that probably wasn't even safe to use at that. But that's all I had was the $20 to get that miter saw. Of course, I already had a tape measure and some other tools, but I was able to get the miter saw and get some wood. And so I'm sure y'all have seen these flags on Facebook Marketplace, and I started making these flags and making money. It wasn't great. Got stuff falling in my garage. So I started making these wooden flags. I would stain them, and I would get a star template from Amazon and make these flags. And I was making a little bit of money, and I'm like, okay, well, the first it was a hobby. It was something I just wanted to do, but it's like I could make some money off of this. And I started making enough money from that to eventually get a CNC machine, and I started pursuing that and making more money. So I'm still working full time at my other job, and working at this on the weekend. And that's the thing, I was only investing time in this, probably 85% of it was on the weekend, very little during the week, unless I was just falling behind. So then it got to the point where all the events that happened in the last couple of years, wood prices going up, and then I'm in a one-car garage, and I know there's a lot of woodworkers out there that operate out of a one-car garage, but for me, I was getting too many projects going on, and I didn't have the room to really expand, and I wasn't really making enough money to get a shop or to venture out of the garage. But I just want to go through the comments real quick. AC Leather, how's it going? Let's see. RDL Designs. So I said do some woodworking. He says I do a lot of scroll saw work. I have a scroll saw that was passed down from my brother, and it might have actually belonged to my grandpa at the time. I can't remember if he had it or not, but I'm not good at it at all. I remember growing up, we would make puzzles with a scroll saw, and that was probably about the extent of my use with one. So I get this CNC machine, that I use the money from making these wooden flags on the weekends, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And it doesn't. I think that's where people kind of mess up, is they think that their side hustle should immediately make them money, and to the point where they can quit their job right off the bat. And that's not always the case. I'm sure it works sometimes, but that's not the case where you can start a side hustle and just quit your job. But again, going back to being in this one-car garage, my wife and I decided that the woodworking wasn't the direction that we wanted to go. She wasn't really comfortable using the CNC machine. We actually ended up buying a laser, and again, this was with money from making stuff. and kind of adding our arsenal of tools and whatnot. So fast forward a little bit more past, all this crazy mess, like I said, that we've been dealing with, wood prices going through the roof. And at that point, we're just not going to pursue the woodworking anymore. Plus our washer and dryers in the garage. We're tired of the dust everywhere. So the leather work started to come into play. And so we decided, I decided that I wanted to look at leathercraft. And that's where I was like, okay, well, if I sell the CNC machine, then I can afford to get more tools. And I have more than enough room to go ahead and pursue the leathercraft and really expand it. We kept the laser because we knew we could make stuff with the leather or other items with that. So we knew that was a tool that could help us expand. But no matter what it is, if it's woodworking, if it's leathercraft, metalwork, you have the time, I promise, to make a side hustle work. Again, it might not be something that's going to help you quit your job right away, but there's other options to grow, and that's where I want to get into the social media side of it, whether it's TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. I mean, there's plenty of platforms out there to get your name out. It's not this day and age of, well, let me talk to my graphic designer, my web designer, let me talk to my guy that gets my mailing list and stuff, mailing postcards and all that stuff. I mean, all that's outdated. There's no need for it. In fact, I went to school to get a graphic design degree, and my thing going out of school was, I'm going to sell people websites, I want to sell them logos and all this other mess, and then come to find out I'm not even doing any of that. I mean, I do it personally, for myself, but not selling it. As a side hustle, you don't have to have all those guys. I promise you, even with minimal skills, Squarespace and all these other platforms to create a website, Fiverr to create logos for $5-10. I mean, you can create your brand for next to nothing. And you, of course, excuse my dog. You'll need that brand built up eventually, because isn't the ultimate goal to eventually get out of your regular job, your 9 to 5, or whatever it is, and step into a business that you've created? And that's my goal, and I'm pushing for it. I'm going to be straight up and honest with you guys. I'm not there yet. I'm not to the point where I can quit my job, but I'm still working on that. And going back to some of the comments, online is the key to succeed. And you're right, it sure is. I worked for multiple print shops back in the day doing mail outs for companies. The expense to mail out one postcard, and only you're hoping it reaches someone, whereas you can jump on a live, you can post a video on TikTok, YouTube, you name it. Gosh, you're gonna get so much more traffic that way than sending out a postcard. Here's the other thing. Getting on TikTok or YouTube and just talking about what you do is free. I mean, how better can it get to market yourself through YouTube for your side hustle or your business for free, and just say, hey, I got the link below? I mean, but people don't think about that. People don't want And I'm not speaking for everybody. Not everybody's this way, but I'm trying to help show you guys that all you have to do is post a video online, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, or whatnot. If it's your side hustle or business, that link below, or hey, follow me, or whatever the case is traffic. Took me 4 years to do woodworking full time. That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that, for sure. And I've seen so many people, do that. They get online, they push themselves, and they're able to turn that hustle into a business within just a few years. And I know, like, for myself, I always thought that you had to have an education, you had to have school, you had to get the degree, you had to get a career and spend all that time and money, and it's not the case. You don't need the school all the time. Yeah, there's certain jobs. If I get surgery done, of course, I would really want that doctor to have a school and a degree, and hopefully he got good grades, all that stuff, before he cuts me open. But for this stuff, guys, there's no reason to not start. And you can start today by just getting out into your garage and making something. And again, it's woodworking, leather work, metal work, crafts, you name it. I mean, there's platforms like Etsy, Facebook Marketplace. And I started out with Facebook Marketplace, and believe you me, I quickly learned that that was not going to be the best option. And how people make it the best option for them blows my mind. It really does. I'm not going to lie. Same way with Etsy. Etsy is probably another one that I've kind of shied away from over time, because the time and energy that I put into something and the fees that they take out, I kind of got tired of. So, but again, starting your side hustle can start out that way. Just because you start out a certain way doesn't mean you have to end that way. You can start out with Facebook Marketplace. You can start out with just your friends and family, but you can start out with Etsy. You can start out with your website. You just have to find an avenue to direct them to where you're wanting to sell something when you start that side hustle. I've seen, people are saying woodworking. I'm just curious, what side hustle are you trying to start? What type of hobby? I would like to know. Leave a comment below, and let people kind of encourage you to keep that going, because even if your main reason for starting isn't to make money, maybe it's just something you want to do on the side. I did a video of when does a hobby turn into a side hustle, and for me personally, it could be different, but for me, it was when people started noticing, family, friends, you name it, when they started noticing and then reaching out and wanting something made and offering you something, offering to pay for it, offering, hey, I can do this in exchange. But I mean, money's nice, but that might not be the case at first. But, don't shy away from that. If that's something you're very passionate about, that hobby, it's so much fun when you change from a hobby to a side hustle, and then you already have that traffic from people finding you, whether it's friends or family, or word of mouth is great, starting out, but then you can get into turning that side hustle into a business. And for some it takes 4 years, some it takes longer. Like I said, I'm still working at it, but when you can take your hours that you're not doing anything, the hours from watching TV, watching, football, watching the game, and turning it into something, is so much, so more rewarding, if I can say that right, than just sitting on the weekends and not doing anything. So when you do go back to work, here's the other thing that I've gotten more traffic, more orders, more people, is that when you start going back to work and those coworkers that you've either friended online or they found your TikTok or YouTube and they ask about what you're doing, it gets around. I was really surprised how well it got around, that people are like, oh yeah, you do this, can you make this? Well, how much is that? And you're like, I haven't talked to this person since I started. But then there's that conversation piece where, they know of you, but now, you can help them out by making something. So, starting a side hustle is not that hard. It's not that expensive, especially for, getting into woodworking or leathercraft. I can't say that for other side hustles, but everything can be expensive depending on what type of wood you get, what type of leather you get. It can get pricey either way, but you don't have to start that way. Like for leathercraft, if you really wanted to, you could start leathercraft for under $100. You could get a cheap kit off of Amazon and some leather and have at it, and then practice. I mean, with a side of leather, you can get a ton of wallets made, and just practice, and then post them on Facebook, do some TikToks, talk about what you make. And, it's not that you're trying to get on TikTok to, push an item for sale at first, if you're doing it as a hobby, or even as a side hustle at first. Maybe you're just wanting to document the process of learning into getting that side hustle started. But if it's something you've already done and you've already perfected that craft, there's no reason that you shouldn't be taking, like I said, if you're working 40 hours a week, you're sleeping 8 hours a day. Again, good for you, because I'm still like half that. That's 96 hours a week. You still have 72 hours. Cut that in half. Let's just say 36 hours out of the week. That's a lot. That's a ton of time that we're not doing anything with. And if we budget our time, if we look at the time that we spend with our family, we need that. You need that family time. So cut that out. Deduct that from the hours that you have left. Deduct personal time for whatever you're doing. If it's for your hobby outside of your side hustle, then take that time and divide it out. So if you have 20 hours left, that over the course of the week, that's still a few hours a day. And that's all it takes, is just a few hours a day to work on something and document it. And, within a few hours a day, you can create a website for your side hustle and still make money. There's no reason you can't get off your butt, get off the couch, turn the TV off, and get started. So guys, I'm going to jump off. I hope this helped you. If you got any sort of value out of this, I'd appreciate you subscribing or hitting that follow button. And I'm going to be doing some more live streaming, some more content on helping you guys get that side hustle going, and just encouraging you and letting you guys know that whether it's woodworking, leathercraft, metalwork, you name it, you can start a side hustle with the time that you have available, no questions. So again, we'll see y'all on the next one, and I hope y'all have a great day. See y'all.